Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. Grace to you, peace to you, welcome to you, and especially welcome to those who are visiting with us. It is always good for us to have visitors. And I just want to say, if you've already visited once and you're back for a second time, your family. Okay, so, all right. I call your attention to announcements that are in the nuggets, in the bulletin, all the different things that are going on. And you all can read, can't you? All right. Yeah. I, I, I'm running late. That's what it is. And I can't get this thing to fit around my ear. Hello? Is it working? Okay. So a couple of announcements. First of all, electronic recycling. If you have something that you would like to donate for electronic recycling, we are still going to be carrying on, I think, until like 12:30 today. And Bill Peterson is willing to help go to your home and pick that up for you if need be, if you need that kind of assistance. So get a hold of Bill. He's right over there. That's what Bill looks like. All right. Very good. And then also in the other building in Smith Hall, we have this great big bulletin board, and there are plug-in sign-in sheets. They are for communion servers and for liturgists and all different kinds of things that we do here at the church. It's an opportunity for you to serve and to, well, like it says, to plug in. So please take a look at that and sign up. We would love to have you be a part of that. Okay? All right. I think that is it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Roy. Please, yes, use the pulpit mic because you have such a soft voice. Except when you're yelling.
All righty. Next Saturday, the 18th, we'll be doing our play reading. So everything is set up. If you go to our shadowrockucc.org website, there's a link there that'll take you to where you can pick up tickets and further information, date, time, place. We'll open the doors. It'll be a lot like last time. We'll open the doors at 6:30, little social gathering time, and then we'll, quote, curtain go up at 7 o'clock. We'll begin the play. So please come. This is No More Deaths. It's an unfortunate name for the play in the sense that it is not a documentary about no more deaths. However, it is an artistic expression of the playwright's views about how things come together and the way he wrote it and put it together. So we do encourage you to come. There'll be feedback to the playwright after the show, and no raffles this time, unfortunately, but if someone wants to throw something in the kitty to raffle, I guess we could do that, right?
We can always do that, yes.
We can always add a raffle, but I don't have anything else. So if you want to, donate your car or something. Okay.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you for that reminder, Roy. That's an important event. Thank you. All right. Everybody, including me, take a deep breath. I don't know what kind of week you had. I hope it was one that had some comfort and some joy and some grace. I suspect it also had its challenges, perhaps things that hit close at home, or perhaps you just watched too much news. Whatever it was, we come to this place, led, guided, nurtured by the Spirit of life and love. And we are able to be expressions of such love to one another. May we gain strength for the journey in our time together here. No matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. I invite you to stand and let us sing our greeting to each other. There is room for all.
There's room for all in the shadow of God's wing. There is room for all sheltered in God's love. And I rejoice and sing, my refuge and my rock in whom I trust. There is room for all. There is room for all. There is room for all in the shadow of God's wing. There is room for all sheltered in God's love. And I rejoice and sing, my refuge and my rock in whom I trust. There is room for all. There is room for all.
Please join me in the call to worship. As we enter into this sacred place, we have an opportunity to put away the pressures of the world that ask us to perform, to take up masks, to put on brave fronts. Friends, silence if you can the voices that ask you to be perfect. This is a community of compassion and welcoming. We bring all that we are and all that we yet can be to this safe and holy place. In sacred times of word, wonder, and awe, in ordinary days of work and play, in every moment, creativity is with us. Let us celebrate and sing.
'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, it will be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we will not be ashamed. To turn and to turn will be our delight, till by turning, turning we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be loving, 'tis a gift to be true, 'tis a gift to share our community with you. For when there is another with whom we can share, the gifts we have are doubly rare. When two or more gathered, the gifts of good will always remain. For the gift to be simple and the gift to be free are a part of love and harmony.
Thank you. Please be seated. He had a funny look on his face, didn't he? Yeah. This is a time of celebration. This is a time when we lift up birthdays and anniversaries, and perhaps you were surprised by grace. Maybe you were an instrument of grace or comfort or healing or peace for someone else. We lift those up because that is a way in which we together celebrate the deep goodness of life. So if you have a celebration, I invite you to stand. We will start on this side of the room, and then we will move over across this way. So we'll start over here, and I tell you, I know a celebration right now. Rachel. Are you being shy?
Well, hi, I'm back. That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Welcome back.
Thank you. Very happy to be with you guys this morning. I'll be here until May, so I'm not going to go anywhere anytime soon, I promise. And also, I celebrate a birthday next Saturday, so that's exciting. And my fellowship, for those of you who knew I was in Nova Scotia this past fall, it was really successful. I got a lot of research done, and it was a great opportunity.
Wonderful. We missed you. Glad you're back. All right. Very good. We move across this way. Oh, sometimes this happens. Don't have celebrations. Okay, here we go.
Hello, I'm Monet. This is somewhat belated, but hey, it's me giving this announcement, so shouldn't shock anybody. On January 3rd, my baby turned 24. Matisse did, and she hosted us over Christmas. It was lovely. I missed all of you, but I want to tell you that my girl, although she has long been mature, is now an adult, and that's really exciting.
Yeah. True. All right, Jenny.
Good morning. I'm Jenny Bondurant, and I am celebrating that I am organizing my kitchen. And remember last fall when I said I was going to be more active in what my life was involved with? And so I have a petition together, signatures to put on the ballot for next year to outlaw dirty money. So anyone who donates, any entity that donates $2,000 or more must be disclosed to the public. So if you didn't sign that last fall when I was motivated, I'm motivated and I found it again. So I brought it back to church and I have space, and if we really have a lot, I have a second one we can start filling up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm June, and you know I'm very busy, but I have found another project. I am making bird nests crocheted out of wool and cotton for Australia. If you want to learn how to make a bird's nest, you can come Wednesday morning at 9:30, and I will show you how to crochet them. They don't take long. I think this took me maybe an hour and a half or something like that.
Okay.
And they can be different sizes.
Okay, June, hold on. Keep the mic. Keep the mic.
Okay.
I don't understand. It's a crocheted or knitted bird's nest.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really for a bird to sit in? Oh, it really is. Say more, please.
You can make different sizes. This one is for a bird. Yeah, it's for the fires.
Yes.
The animals that are escaping the fires. But they can put rodents in it. They can put wombats if you make them big enough. Yeah. Online it's animalrescuecrafts.com. And you can make bat blankets. You can make kangaroo pouches, but they do have a lot of them, and they have plenty of mittens for the koalas. But
Okay.
they really need bird's nests, and they need the bat blankets, and there's one more thing that you can make.
Okay, June, wait a minute. I'm just a man. You got to put the dots really close together. So here's what I'm understanding, is that because of the terrible wildfires, there are so many of these animals that are basically displaced, homeless, without their family, without nurturing, and they're being rescued. And ways in which we care for them then is to put them in some cozy, comfortable, nurturing thing like this. Is that right? Did I got it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you can't do this or you can't sew, they really need money for food.
Okay.
Because the animals need food. I mean, there's nothing for them to eat.
Okay. Yeah, they've been absolutely devastated. So thank you, June, for taking that on and for sharing that. Thank you. Okay. All right. A lot to celebrate. Go.
Good morning, Shadow Rock. My name's Travis, and I want to be closer to you today, so I'm going to move this music stand. If you are comfortably able, please stand and sing with me. Now, how are we feeling today, Shadow Rock? Let me hear it. I'm sorry, that's warming up. I get it. Come on, how are we feeling, Shadow Rock? Oh, I like that. Okay, so here's the deal. We've sang this a couple of times. We're going to sing the initial lines. The choir's going to echo us, and we're going to have a good time. Feel free to dance if you want. Here we go. I feel good. I feel great. I think it's time to celebrate. Whether it's a birthday, anniversary, or just having a good day, we're glad you're here. We celebrate. Let's celebrate. You're being here. We're being itself in history. No matter who or what or where you are on the journey of life, you're welcome here to celebrate. We're glad you're here to celebrate.
Our celebrations continue as we prepare to give. We celebrate one another, journeying together. God blesses all gifts and all givers. Our offerings further our values of justice, inclusion, and spirituality. Join me in dedicating our gifts. Our offerings are prayers moving out into the world. May they join other gifts to make a compassionate change.
In this small little town, there was a man who was known as the town drunk and would raise all kinds of heck. And he came out of a bar early on a Sunday morning and stumbled around, and finally he stumbled down the street, stumbled down the bank into the edge of the river where the church had gathered, and they were having a baptism time. And the minister thought, oh, we're going to take advantage of this time, and grabbed the drunk, grabbed him, shoved him down underneath the water and said, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and then raised him up and said, tell me, friend, tell me you found Jesus. And he goes, no. So we dumped him down again and held him there for a while, pulled him back up please tell me, man, that you found Jesus. And he, no, I didn't find Jesus. He pulled him down again, held him down for a long time this time, a long, long time. And then pulled him back up and said, for God's sake, man, tell me you found Jesus. He goes, I don't know, is this where he fell in? Now, it is bad. It is bad. And Peg tells the joke much better. So, but I tried. The lectionary, unlike the story I just told, the lectionary brings us Matthew chapter 3, the story of Jesus' baptism. Then Jesus came from Galilee to John the Baptist at the Jordan to be baptized by him. John would have prevented him, saying, I need to be baptized by you, and do you come to me? John had just called all the religious leaders and so many of the people gathered there. He said, oh, you brood of vipers, who warned you to repent and to change your ways before the coming of the one who's really, really going to make a difference in the world. But anticipation of Jesus. But Jesus answered him, let it be so now, for it is proper for us in this way to fulfill all righteousness. In other words, let's do all that is required. And then John consented. And when Jesus had been baptized, just as he came up from the water, suddenly the heavens were opened to him, and he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and alighting on him. And a voice from heaven said, this is my child, the beloved, with whom I am well pleased. May the Spirit of life and love bless the reading, the hearing, the living of a word about life. Amen. So the lectionary brings us to this story of Jesus' baptism. And oh my gosh, if you go online as if you had nothing else to do and you look at stories of baptism, you will find all kinds of things that are going on. And so here is such a story. It is a story where two meanings of baptism are presented. One is an immersion into water as a public sign of confession that I lived with an orientation toward life that was narrow, an orientation toward life that was self-centered, an orientation toward life that was self-serving. And John said, there is another way to live, and God is calling us to live in a much different way. And so you make a public confession not only of that life, but that you are going to live a different life, one that is characterized by the ways of God, which are the ways of peace, the ways of justice, the ways of service, and ways of sacrifice. So that baptism is that public announcement of that turn, that repenting. The second meaning of baptism in this story is also a public sign. It is a public sign. It is ritualized by the act of immersion that is being dunked under the water with the add-on understanding that there is a new spirit, that there is a new power, there is a new sense of vocation, calling, and that now that is part of your identity, part of who you are. Thus, the descending dove and the voice from heaven. This is my child, of whom I am pleased. So in this story with the two baptisms, has these layers of the meaning of baptism are shared with us, and public confession of a new orientation to life, a public announcement of vocation, and a public embracing of God through the community of God's people. This is what baptism is. And baptism marks the crossing of all these different thresholds of identity. Crossing a threshold of spiritual, existential, vocational, and communal identity. So that John the Baptist invited people to be in the world in a godly way, and Jesus showed the godly way to be in the world. Now, I've baptized a lot of people. I've baptized adults, youth, children, and babies. I have baptized people in a church service surrounded by friends and family. And I have baptized aging parents and stillborn infants in lonely hospital rooms. When I thought about this, I thought about Dr. Seuss, really. I will baptize them big and small. I will baptize them in a church or a mall. I will baptize them with a fox. I will baptize them in a box. I will baptize them here and there. I will baptize them anywhere. The Catholic Church has 7 sacraments. The beauty of their rituals is the acknowledgement that the holy is in every stage of life and in all vocations. Now, for us as Protestants, we have 2 sacraments because at one point in history, we thought it was important to move spiritual authority from fallible human beings and the institutions that we build. We supposedly moved spiritual authority to sola scriptura, Scripture alone. And in that shift of authority, it was interpreted that the grace and mysterious presence of God was expressed uniquely in the rituals of communion and baptism. Now think about what we do here. Think about even communion last week. We have moved the meaning and authority of communion out of the institution of the church. Many churches still practice communion in such a way that only certain people can lead it. Only certain people can share it. Only certain people can partake in it. And the church acts as a gatekeeper to communion. We have stepped away from that understanding to emphasize its universality and its sacramental power. The ritual is such a radical table of love offered by God that it transcends the human institution of the church to be its gatekeeper. All we can do is be the carrier of its gift of grace. Its sacramental power, its presence and mystery unfolds when we share it. Not withhold it, not parse it out, not be stingy in its distribution, but to be radical and grand in our sharing of it. We connect the bread and the wine, the wheat and the grape, the abundant gifts from the earth. We connect with all of creation and with each other when we share these gifts. When we share these particular gifts, we are symbolically acting out a universal ethic and a vision of how life together on this planet can be. And so it is the table of Jesus, a table of generosity, hospitality, peace, and justice. Please note, again, the shift away from the institution of the church to the way life is, and a vision for the best way to be human in the world when we are sharing and generous to each other. This same shift in authority and meaning away from the institution of the church must be done for baptism as well. In fact, baptism as a ritual has already been unmoored from the institution of the church. While it has been detached from the church, it has yet to land on its new meaning. Over the past 2 weeks, I've received requests to preside over 2 baptisms. It is an absolute joy to baptize people, to hold little babies and put water on their head and just watch the reaction is a great joy. Well, this same shift is happening. I wonder what it means to people when they call me and say, Pastor Ken, will you baptize my child? It's not easy to have this conversation with families. As soon as I try to have this conversation, they think I'm trying to anchor them to the authority of the church as gatekeeper of the sacrament. Families do not want this. They are clear about what they do not want, and a commitment to the institution of the church. They do not want it. But they are not clear about what they do want. I think baptism is a ritual that struggles for meaning, and it struggles for integrity. For years, I've tried to have integrity about baptism. I would say to parents, it would give us great joy to baptize your child. When you baptize your child, you are making a vow to raise them in the faith. That is, parents are making a vow to help the child to grow up with a specific orientation to life, a specific way to be in the world, and belong to a community that would help that nurture. I would say to the parents, come on over and be a part of our fellowship. See if you like us. And if you want to be a part of us, before you make a vow for your child, about your child's spirituality, let's take measure of your spirituality first. Hello? Anybody there? You see, I take vows seriously. I had the same conversation with my own family regarding the baptism of my own grandchildren. I think the parents of my grandchildren should take measure of their own spirituality and be a part of a community before they take a vow for their children. So when it comes to this subject, I'm not a very popular person in my own family. Have you met my daughter? She takes after Peg. She takes after her mother. She's Perhaps we can connect the ritual of baptism with the way life is and the best way to be human in the world, like we do with communion. Most of our planet is water, and 60 to 70% of our body is water. We emerge from the sea and we emerge from the waters of our mother's womb. Water is life-giving and life-changing. We not only emerge from bodies of water, but we are a body of water. The water coursing through our bodies is connected to the water that falls from the sky, fills our lakes and streams and oceans. When the waters of our world are polluted, we suffer with them. The protection and healing of our water is the protection and healing of ourselves. Water justice is world justice. Our faith tradition is full of stories about the life-giving and life-changing power of water. The spirit of life and love moved across the face of deep waters to bring about creation. God's love is pervasive and poured out like water. God's love is like a shower of rain in drought, awakens the sleeping seed within the soul, and lures us to bloom and blossom. God's love, like a children's wading pool, inspires the responsive joy of children, jumping and splashing each other, shivering with wet delight and goosebumps. God's love, like a hot shower after a long day's work, cleanses us, reawakens us, comforts us. God's love, like a jug of water in the desert, quenches thirst and stays off death for the dehydrated traveler. God's love, like waves crashing on the shore, breaks in on us, enfolds us, leaving us feeling vital and refreshed. God's love, like the strength and movement of the sea, holds us up and makes us buoyant for life's journey. I have always felt deeply connected to the ocean, its beauty, its dynamism, and its mysteries. I can sit on the beach and stare out for hours. I can stand on the deck of a boat and feel the powerful pull of the water to be reunited with it. Whenever I hear the biblical verse about the Spirit of God moving over the face of the waters, I am soothed by the idea of the Creator's closeness to all of creation, and intimacy with me and my soul. I know that many requests for baptism, they come over email and the phone, that they are sentimental and nostalgic, complying with the archaic understanding and demands of grandmothers, wearing the family's white heirloom of a baptism gown, and being sprinkled with water by a priest connects a younger generation with an older generation. For them, it's not about the church. It's not about confession. It's not about a sense of calling or even being different in the world. It's not about becoming or belonging as the church understands it. Families will come together, and their focus will be on the child. For a moment, a few moments, their spirits will be lifted and the family will feel hopeful about the future. In some ways, human consciousness has evolved in a promising way and has brought us full circle. The holy is everywhere. The holy cannot be caught by the church in a bottle. It is not limited in a cup or loaf of bread, nor is it limited in the water of a baptismal fount. The holy is everything and is everywhere, just as water is holy and is everything and everywhere. The voice from heaven is the voice of life and the voice of love, proclaiming through water, you are loved and you are accepted. Every drop of water proclaims this truth. Amen. I invite you to stand and join me in the words for mission. One last thing, I couldn't fit it in, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, is that when I was researching for this sermon, one of the stories I came across was that there is, in atheist gatherings, there is a ritual. They get hair dryers, blowers, and they put on them truth and reason. And you can come up and get a blast of hot air in your face in order to de-baptize you. Okay? And they say we're crazy. All right. Please join me in the words for mission. Time has now come for us to leave this sacred place.
As we do, may we embrace the challenges of our lives and our world.
As we prepare to leave this sacred place of celebration of life,
May we live lives of hope, be nurturers of the vision of wholeness, and serve as healers in a wounded world.
these are the times.
We are the people.
All of creation is blessed.
May we love all and serve all.
May God be with you.
And also with you.
Amen.